Hey, it's Chronologically Gaming, the only channel that's perpetually retro because we're playing every video game in order of release. Playing the video games released 42 years ago today. Let's go back to November 1982. We were last being invaded by invaders, and now it's time to see our next game. Our next game is Jerusalem Adventure 2 on the Dragon 32. Don't worry, you didn't miss out on Jerusalem Adventure 1. Here's the box for Jerusalem Adventure 2 for the Dragon 32. This is the 36th game we played on the Welsh Micro. Man, what in the world's going on? This is actually a later box. I was expecting something more biblical, maybe religious, but not getting that from this box, that's for sure. Flip it over, you can see it's just a cassette case. Treasures worth their weight in oil. How do you get them? Let's go on a little Jerusalem adventure. Wasn't expecting them to say that, but here we are in November 1982. What other artwork do we have for Jerusalem Adventure 2? This is by Microdeal Limited, the 16th game we've seen them do. There's our cassette that we're going to pop into our Dragon 32. It's not the 64 Dragon, it's not the Dragon 64 yet until 1983. Yeah, very crazy box. I'm with you. This is the first box that you may have seen if you are into Microdeal adventures. This basic adventure was written in 1980 and originally published by C-Load magazine for the TRS-80 in July 1981. It was published here in 1982 as Jerusalem Adventure number 2. The number 2 is referring to the fact that it was placed second in the Microdeal series. There's also a later version, and this was on a few other micros as well. You can see by the a screenshot, we're going to be pushing more than one button here. We got a whole keyboard to play on. Let's pop it and play Jerusalem Adventure 2 by Warren Melnick in the beginning of November 1982. So it should have C-Load, just like from C-Load magazine. We are going to fast forward right on through to get to the game. For your enjoyment and adventure in... The excitement's building. Another test in the video game broadcast system. This is Warren Melnick's first and only video game, possibly? Let me know if you know of any other games that he's done up to this point. In this ancient Mideastern adventure, you'll be able to get where, examine the objects that you find. So they say this is an adventure in ancient Jerusalem. Yet again, we're not really doing anything religious or biblical. I was kind of hoping this was the first religious or some video game that had some religious connotation, but sadly, no. You'll start with a street in Jerusalem, the ancient biblical city. You must explore the city while outmaneuvering Arabs that will kill you if you come into their quarter of the city. Yes, definitely not. Definitely not. Oh no, it broke. See, if you hit the wrong key, kids, you break the whole thing. Good thing that we got fast forward, because if we want the game to load again, we don't have to wait for a very long time. Coming up again is Jerusalem Adventure 2. Oh man, I hope they don't bring that one, Brian. All right, let's try it again. Make sure you hit the right key. Okay, there we go. Much better. This is a text adventure, only text. This marks the 218th text adventure game we played thus far on the show. Okay, now we're ready. Now enter to continue. Yes, for directions you can type north, south, east, and west, or down to go into different places. We're familiar with that. You can also get help sometimes. I don't like it when they say that. You have some tips to get out of the street of Jerusalem. Go south first. Oh, really? They gave us some actual tips of what to do. And magic words. Say examine things and good luck. All right, so we're on the street in Jerusalem. Visible objects are nothing. Obvious directions are here. Welcome to Adventure in Ancient Jerusalem. So these Microdeal adventures are kind of wanting to do what Scott Adams did with Adventures, splitting the screen up into two different ways, and then they give you some helpful hints and ideas to get you in the world of adventure gaming. That's what this is trying to go for. They're really not the highest quality, though, because the first thing you'll notice is they didn't ask me to load the game. If there's no save feature in an adventure game, it already gets way lower points than any other game you could play on home computers right now. All right, let's keep going on our adventure. We'll go north and go north again. We're in the street in Jerusalem. We can see a set of keys here. Let's go ahead and get those keys. And after we get the keys, let's go ahead and head south. Going back down where we came before. Notice it's not redrawing everything. Or it's just redrawing the whole top time of the screen. Oh, thanks, Brad, for the tip. Appreciate it. Restore. I don't know how to restore something. Yeah, I've already attempted it, and it does not work, sadly. Okay, let's go south again. We're now in the underpass, and let's go up here. So you have to go U to go up. We're on top of the western wall. Visible objects are here. Obvious directions. What happened to my typing? Oh gosh, did the whole thing... the whole thing just crashed in the middle of my adventure. So that's the second time we've had the game break on us. And we haven't had that happen with that many micro deal adventures, but you got to admit, there's some funky things going on with Jerusalem Adventure. Originally, it was a type-in game or a C-load magazine game, so we didn't play the very first time you could play the game. But for the most part, it's you exploring Jerusalem, trying to get treasures. So the two crashes is evident of most of the computers you could be playing up to this point, but because of the no save feature, regardless of the crashing game, I'm still going to say Jerusalem Adventure 2 is around the 2-star range of all the games you could play across all home computers right now. And it is more micro deal adventures. We've already played the third of the micro deal adventures, and there's some other ones out there. Wow, yeah, some lower, yeah. If it loads, you might even give it lower star rating. But the first time you ever saw this and played this, you would have some enjoyment because if you enjoy text adventure games, but still very simplistic out of everything that's out there. Text only. All right, let's see our next game. Oh boy, it's getting a little hot in here. Our next game is Jungle Fever and Night on the Town. It's a 2-pack. This one is brought to us by PlayAround. Used to be called Mystique because Mystique went under. Too bad, Mystique. But this is the second game that PlayAround has done that we've seen on the show. Joel H. Martin did this one, who's also the infamous developer that did Custer's Revenge. And the other one, only one we played at this point was General Retreat and Westward Ho, which was another 2-sided cartridge. This one's another one. See, it's two totally different games on two totally different cartridges. You flip it over the back, and it's kind of a unique idea where you can flip the cartridge back and forth and use one game on one side, another game on the other side. It's a double ender cartridge. Jungle Fever is essentially a gender-reversed version of Burning Desire. You have to rescue your boyfriend being held sacrifice, so it's not a damsel in distress kind of game, but it's more of a shooting-style game. Night on the Town, which is on the other side of the cartridge, is a gender-reversed version of Lady in Waiting, which you're the knight building a bridge over a moat to reach the princess. So it's a building construction game, if you want to give it that kind of credit. You have to make sure you watch out for the alligator in the water, and a troll. And there's also a bird that can drop down on top of you. If you reach the lady in the tower, then you'll get your quote-unquote reward. This marks the 8th adults video game or subject matter that wouldn't be appropriate for children that we've seen here on Chronologically Gaming. As most of the games we see that are adult-oriented, we are not going to be showcasing and playing them because if you're familiar with the video game industry, this is going to explode, and there will be lots of video games that will not be suitable for any other audiences. So we're starting the precedent here by not playing adults-only games, and that means games that are only focused on sexual content. So of all the games you can play right now up to this point, this video game is much better than Custer's Revenge if you take it from a video game standpoint. I still would say it is still around average, but it is doing some things that we haven't seen quite many times on a home console. So I'll say it's 2.5 stars for everything you could play up to this point. And it is 2 games in 1, so you get 2 bang for your buck. But I don't think I should say that with this style of game. Yes, right, you will, Paul. This video game, along with Custer's Revenge and the other adult video game, is also possible for the video game crash for consoles in North America because of the content, and they're not really censoring anything up to this point. All right, so with that, let's press forward to see our next game. Our next release takes us to the Atari home computer, whether it's the 400 or 800, and this is Crazy Antics. Here's the box. Crazy Antics. It's another one by K-Byte. The other K-Razy games we played up to this point was Crazy Shootout in 1981. It's kind of like Berserk. There's Crazy Critters in April 1982. It's kind of like Space Invaders or Galaxian. Then we saw K-Star Patrol in September 1982. That's kind of like Scramble. So here we go. The next one in the series, I don't know if you really want to call it a series. Oh, really? So you played this one, Brad? Yeah, we'll see about that. You can see the front of the box is lots of ants. So they're really taking the antics, and you're just going to be controlling ants. Yes, survival's in your hands. We have floods, predators, enemy ants threaten the white anthill. Survival in your hands. Yeah, it shows a picture of the screenshot there. You do need a Atari VCS joystick to play, and I wouldn't have it any other way. Let's see the other artwork we have for Crazy Antics. Besides the box, here's the cartridge we're going to pop into play. This one is by CBS Software and K-Byte. It's the 5th game we've seen them do on the show, and the majority of these have been really good, so I'm actually excited to play Crazy Antics. Shootout was fantastic. Critters was very, very good, and Patrol was very, very good. So I'm expecting something nice. One-player only game, it says here. Save your Anthell. I don't know how we're going to do that one. And there's an example of the screenshot. Oh, very nice. All right, so here's the manual. How do we play? Please tell us. This marks the 391st game we've played on the Atari 400 and Atari 800 home computers. Lots of games out there. The manual has a same artwork that we saw on the front of the box. As usual, they explain how to load the game cartridge, but if it's a cartridge on the Atari, it's so easy. Lift up the flap, put the cartridge in, and play. Just make sure you don't have the basic cartridge in, unless it needs it, but this does not. Easy instructions, love it. Crazy Antics features 6 anthills or 6 mazes. You choose from one of the 6, pushing the select button on your computer. You can have a completely different maze, requiring the dexterity to protect your white ant. So here's the ants. At least the different the character art of the ants. You guide your white ant through the maze of tunnels, picking up enemy eggs, preventing their perpetuation, simultaneously depositing your white eggs to ensure the continuation of your ants. So your survival is dependent on you dropping eggs, because if you don't drop eggs, then you won't hatch again and continue to keep going. So you have to make sure you lay eggs. Interesting concept. The object of the game is to guide your resident white ant through the maze of tunnels while avoiding hostile enemy ants, the anteater, and torrential rain floods. You got 3 main things to worry about. There's the screenshot or fabricated screenshot. Very, very nice one, though. The enemy ants are 4 different ones. They use a search and destroy to chase down and track you out. Red and blue ants. And they're going to be laying eggs as well. If they hatch, they'll continue on their mission. You'll have more and more ants to deal with. But you're supposed to eat their ants and destroy and capture these ants by foiling different planes, like the ant eater or having the enemy ants flooded. And there's the white eggs that we're going to lay down. We have 40 white eggs in reserve. They'll show up at the bottom of the screen every time we push the red button on our Atari VCS joystick. Then they'll lay down. There's the enemy eggs that we want to eat. There's the anteater that's going to try to take us out. And there's the rain flood that's going to be filling up our home. And there's the ant trap. Our goal is to skillfully maneuver all 4 enemy ants into the ant trap to advance to the next level or the next maze. So you get the concept. The idea of the game is pretty cool. Yeah, there's the joystick controls, very easy to control, up, down, left, and right using the Atari VCS joystick and what the red button does. And there's the scoring points. It is November 1982. You got to know what the points are, and you want the high score. Bonus white eggs and helpful hints. Man, what a great manual. It's classic Atari. Not that Atari's the one that did this, but the helpful hints always is great. Look at that. Thank you so much, K-Byte, for the help. I know, Reich's Chiptune, where's the lore? Where's my purpose in life? I was expecting something more science fiction, but no, it's very grounded in reality. All right, let's pop in that cartridge and play Crazy Antics. This is by Kenneth and Marilee Otto in the beginning of November 1982. And this is their only game? Did Kenneth and Marilee only do one game? Oh, listen to that. All right, I'm raising that up. That's pretty good. Once again, the Pokey chip on the Atari home computer is singing the songs and music that we've heard probably since the beginning. Some of the best. I don't think that's public domain. Most of these are. If someone in the chat wants to tell me, what song was it? All right, let's go in again. From the title screen, we can do games 1, 2, 3, and 4, but essentially all we're doing is picking which maze we want to do. It's not changing difficulty or variations. It's just the maze. So we're going to go with game mode number 1 and go. I am the white ant at the top of the screen, and I'm dead. That was so fast. If you don't lay any eggs, you will die that quickly. Am I done? Okay, there you go. I'm back in. So what I need to do is start laying some eggs. There's my egg, but they are going to eat them. I want to eat their eggs that you can see on the outside. Here comes the anteater. Please don't eat me. Now, every time that I die, if I have an egg left, I will hatch. Oh, I will hatch. And then get chased again. So you have to be very, very quick. Let's see if we can eat some of these eggs. Good strategy is to try to lay eggs where you don't think the enemy's going to get them, and you got that one. And lure them away, because you want to be able to trap them. Gosh, and if you run out of eggs, you're dead that fast. Yeah, right, it has the Anteater, which really looks similar to the Anteater from Anteater. A game concept that's going to be played later on Sierra and home computers called Oil's Well, but Anteater was first in the arcade that we've already seen. Let me try laying an egg there. That'll work. And then we see the ants are following me relentlessly. Looks like we trapped one. Oh, but he hatched again out the outside. It's coming again from mine. Okay, coming out of that one. I'll just redo another one. So we still have 4 total ants. Looks like we got one there that got trapped by the Anteater. Wow, you need to be on your game. The movement of this does play very similar to Pac-Man, but there's a lot more involved. Artificial intelligence for the ants is tricky. They're like honing in on me. Let's see if they take in. Let's see if we can go for another one. Down at the very bottom of the screen, that long line that you see are all the eggs that I can eat. So I'm just gonna lay a bunch more eggs. See if I can get more of these ants trapped. There you go. Laying lots more of mine now. Because you can see how many I got. I think if you lay eggs down at the bottom, you're going to get flooded, though. Yeah, thanks, Brad. Use them or lose them. Look how many they're eating all of them. All right, we got 2 trapped in there, looking pretty good. But see, I missed out on one. One of the ants was in one of the eggs, and I had to take him out. Yeah, the background audio, it's different. There's another game we played called Dung Beetles. It had lots of names, but it was the same concept. You're playing like an insect. The music in this one is better than that, though. All right, gonna lay more. Let's see if we can get this last one and trap him. He's not really following me as much as the other ones. So here in November 1982, out of all the games we played up to this point, this is very much a Pac-Man variant. It doesn't play exactly like Pac-Man, but the top-down maze, arcade maze game, is alive and well. Oh, he got me there. We did it. All of them trapped. It counts the number of eggs down at the bottom, and then the Ants Go Marching plays. Nice. So this marks the 126th Pac-Man-like game that we played up to this point. Anteater was the arcade game we played in April 1982, but it really doesn't play that way. It's the enemy is doing the similar idea, though, that the Anteater would do, but we aren't controlling the Anteater. Get them all. Capture them. All right, looking all right. I need to get more over on this side, so I'm going to make my way over to the top left. Great idea. Fresh idea. Having played everything up to this point, it's very similar to another game called Serpentine, where you have to lay eggs to stay alive, but this one is a little more gimmicky and nuanced than that. Oh, we ran out of eggs, so now I'm just trying to stay alive. I don't think I can outrun this guy, though. He is right on my butt. Go, go, go. I mean, look at this. The red one is... Gosh, and he got me. I'll just hatch again. Okay, finally he got eaten by someone else. All right, so I have no more eggs to lay, and now I just got to get this guy to either drown or get flooded by the water. Let's see if he follows me around. See, he's laying them, so I need to make sure I take him out, or the other ones are going to pop out. You can kind of see the graphic difference between your eggs and the other ants. We are going to see this one later on the Commodore VIC-20, too. How did you get out of there? Around 1983, so it's not just here. If you had only the Commodore VIC-20, you'd also get that. We did it! Sweet! So the flickering indicates to me this one isn't programmed as well as some of the other games on the Atari 400 or 800, but they're trying to do something new and different. Pac-Man obviously is a concept that's been around for a long time, but this is a nice twist. All the games you could play up to this point across all home computers, it's a fresh idea. It is very difficult, and you have to do something different than you've done before. You're not just picking up dots all around. And also notice, I have no eggs now. I'm in a really hot water, and I don't think I can get out of this. 6 different mazes, I believe, is what we could play as. But yeah, right now, if I have no eggs to lay, there it is. Game over. Oh, I thought it was Ants Go Marching. Maybe, yeah, the original was Saints Go Marching. That's right. So, cool idea. Very, very cool. All right, so of all the games you can play across all home computers right now, it still is a formula we've seen before. But I actually got to say, the gameplay, once you get used to it, is pretty fun. Looking over the chat, I already see a 4-star from City and Arcade, 3.5 from James, looking above everything else. So, Brad, you mentioned in the chat you had this one whenever it was released, or at least close to whenever it was released. Of all the games you could, if you've tuned into the show and hopefully seen all the games that are possible for all systems, it's an antiquated idea because it's the top-down maze, but it's still done very, very well. I mean, actually seen some 4-stars. The games that really utilize the sound in the Atari home computer kind of crank this up compared to all the other games out there. Yeah, Pac-Man Anteater. It doesn't play as smoothly as some of the other top-down maze games across all home computers, but I'll still say, because of the newer, fresh idea, similar to like Serpentine, I'll say 3.5 stars. Crazy Antics is still around the average range, but a very good game. Curtis is saying 3.5 as well. All right, after that, let's see what our next game is. Coming up next is the Atari VCS. This is Karate. Karate! We heard about this one in the magazine after we played Condor Attack. Here's the box for Karate. Actually, I want to show you the different boxes for Karate. This is the very first video game with Karate in the title. Just bask in that. Of all the games we've seen up to this point, there is no video game that calls itself Karate in the title. But that's not all. This game's going to do more first, too. It's a martial arts contest to determine if you're the world's greatest champion. Are you good enough? We're going to find out. This is by Ultravision. This box we're looking at is the very first box. This is the second game we've seen by Ultravision after Condor Attack. And this game is only on the Atari 2600. It is the 170th game we've played on the Atari VCS. Later box is by Froggo. You can see Karate's on the front, and I'm actually more familiar with this box. And this is a later release. You look in the bottom left, you see it's for the 2600 and 7800. I have no idea what the 7800 is. What are they talking about? Secretly, though, right now behind the scenes, Atari is developing the 7800. They really want that to be the next generation console. 5200 was just, they just threw the Atari 400 and 800 as a console out there right now. Yes. Yep, no problem. I understand. All right, if you think you're good, think again. Start as a white belt, battling other white belts in the 2-minute match. Oh, nice. This is a crazy idea for a video game. We really don't see very many of these. There it is, the first box for Ultravision, and then the later box by Froggo. There is the ad we already saw in the magazines with Condor Attack and Karate. Yikes, Condor Attack has a lot to live up to, so I'm kind of concerned, what's Karate going to be like? There is the Ultravision cartridge, just like on Condor Attack. It has that weird T handle. Very, very bizarre. Weird. It's almost like the handle for the Philips Video Pack. And then there's another later release of Karate as well. This was lots of different flavors of boxes and released in lots of different places. This is going to be an interesting video game because it's doing something we rarely see. Is this back of the box calls Karate a Chinese traditional fighting and defending skill and feat. Every action in Karate is a beautiful combination of power and art. Yes. There's the cartridge for Karate, or the other cartridge for Karate, depending on where you got it, with an example of the screenshot. Oh man, here we go. How do we play Karate? How do we play this game? It is a full-color action game for 1 or 2 players. Speed, skill, and guts are not enough. You have to be constantly alert and clever enough in your strategy to outfight your opponent. Yeah, there it is. All the instructions you need to play to be black belt. And the instructions for setup right here above my head. It's the usual. Turn off the console. Put the cartridge in. Turn the console on. You can have 2 difficulty switches going from slow to fast. Make sure your TV's on the right channel, 2 or 3. Yeah, definitely. All right. I hope not. That'd be awesome, Manly. All right, so to play the game, you can put 1 or 2 players and get ready to go. Match starts automatically. Joystick moves your fighter up and down, and this is pretty self-explanatory, but here it explains where the control is going to come from. How do you punch up? How do you punch straight or kick up? That's how you do it. And then what points you get for making those combinations. Advanced belts training techniques. If you want to train, they recommend setting it for the 2-player game and then just beating up someone who's not really there. Froggo Games, thanks so much. Oh yes, Proto Karate Champ. I have no idea what you're talking about. So whether you're in PAL regions or North America, this is available, both of those. And we're going to pop in the first time, Karate. This is developed by Joseph Amelio. Published by Ultravision first in the beginning of November 1982, then later by Froggo. Awesome. Now this is a unique one. This is a fighting game. This is a one-on-one fighting game. Now, I'm going to just go in, hit the reset, and play. I haven't adjusted any of the difficulty switches. I'm on the right side as the purple fighter, and I'm going to just try to get as many hits in as I can, but I'm amazed that I have full range of movement. I'm moving around the screen as a fighter, and it's a one-on-one fighting game. And not only that, it's martial arts themed too. You have to know which hit to do at the right time. The characters remind me of some of the other boxing games we played, because up to this point, as far as a one-on-one fighting game, this is the 9th video game that we played on the show. So just remember, of all systems, there is only 9 one-on-one fighting games across everything up to this point. And to take this perspective is even more rare. Majority of these fighting games, we have turned the boxing sport into what we refer to as sports-based fighting games. So it's a sport because it's boxing, but it's pretty much a one-on-one fighting game. And up to this point, we played 6 games like that. One of the biggest ones here on the Atari was Boxing for Atari, and the top-down one, kind of taking the homage from Warrior in the arcade. But man, this has a multiplayer aspect to it, but right now I'm playing against a computer, a fighting game. It is janky as hell. I lost with much fanfare, right? I can't believe, though, it is a one-on-one fighting game. As far as home console games, I prefer boxing on the Atari or in television's boxing game to this one, because this one right here, it doesn't feel like I'm doing as much. You might have more enjoyment whenever you play against, not a computer, but you play against a human player. But look at this. I'm able to move around. Can I actually move past the boxer, or is he blocked? It flips. Nice. So it's not utilizing one plane. You have more to work on. Look at this. I feel almost like I'm playing boxing with a few kicks, just because of how limited your moveset is. Yeah, it's very, very unique, very rare. And it almost makes me think that if you were a developer and you were going to get ready to make a game and you're thinking of the concept, this style of game, a one-on-one fighting game, I don't think they're selling. They're not popular. It's funny that there's this resurgence we're going to get later in the 90s where it's all about fighting games. But right now, you can see that they have extremely humble beginnings. All right, so the really good ones, fighting games you could play right now, are going to be some of the other boxing titles, at least for home consoles. But if you want to play a game that is a one-on-one fighting game that's not boxing, some of the best out there would be Warrior in the arcade. That's still awesome. It still plays well. It's still a lot of fun. The Biles Toad on the Apple II is still one of the most ridiculous ideas for fighting games that you would be able to play, and is also extremely violent. I highly recommend the Biles Toad if you want something that is trying to do something way beyond anything you've seen for a video game up to this point. Wizard War on the Dragon 32 is another one. That one is more of a strategic game, though, because you're having to decide and figure out what your enemy's going to do. This is pure action, what we're dealing with right now. On home consoles, though, boxing on the Atari or in television is really all you got. So this one is very unique that we're not doing boxing. It's a fighting game, but how much fun are you going to have playing this, going between slow and fast speeds with a friend? That's the question. Oh yeah, chiptune for sure. I love it. So yeah, amazing that I'm playing and experiencing this, but I can see how developers wouldn't want to develop a fighting game, because there's a lot that goes into it. If you want to play something with a lot more meat onto it, definitely play Intellivision's boxing, because that allowed you to pick characters with stats way beyond anything else that could be played up to this point. This feels like This honestly feels like a slower version of Atari's boxing. I have more fun with that one than this one. Whether you're playing, you know, I know you need another player to play that too. But this one is you actually get a computer to punch against. So there you go, a quick taste of karate. Man, oh man, what fighting games are going to become. Up to this point, of all the games you could play across all home consoles, there's really not anything else to compare this to except Atari's boxing and Intellivision's boxing. So I would say it's rare. You definitely can't call it average, but it's really not an enjoyable experience as far as the gameplay. Looking over in the chat, I already see a 3-star rating of all the games up to this point. Curtis is even saying 3 average for everything you can play up to this point. The limited amount of options and what's really impressive though from a technical perspective is playing against a computer that is reading your movements, and it's not just brutally destroying you like we played with baseball. It's giving you a fighting chance, basically. Yeah, right? Oh, yeah, and if you play with 2 people, you're both learning the controls, having more fun with it. Yeah. I would still say it's a rough start, so I would say 2.5 stars of all the games you could play across all home consoles. Karate has a lot to live up to, and there's many more games on home consoles that you would find more enjoyable for this. But, man, innovative and doing something that not many people do is what we do here on Chronologically Gaming.
I can't think of a faster.
All right, it's time to put the video game playing on pause. Man, we got a lot of video games that we played on the Atari VCS, and 2 of the biggest ones is coming up. One of the most infamous and one of the most famous. We're going to be playing both of those before we end the week this week. But next time on Chronologically Gaming, let's cruise to the arcades to play a new game by Bally Midway. Our luggage is lost on the Atari, and we will once again land on the moon. That's it for today, and like I always say, there's always one game you could keep playing forever. What's yours? Join Chronologically Gaming and special guest Howard Scott Warshaw for the release of Raiders of the Lost Ark and E.T. for the Atari 2600. For the first time, the creator of these games will be here live in November 1982 to play the games, rate the games, and we may even answer some questions from the chat. We'll see you there. Hey everybody, thanks for checking out the channel and joining me on my quest to play every single video game in order of release. We'll be streaming live every weekday at 9 p.m. Central, so join us and let us know if we missed any games along the way. This video would not be possible without Launchbox, RetroArch, and MAME. Tell all your friends there's some crazy guy named Chronologically Gaming trying to play every single video game. We have links down below that'll send you to places like our Discord and Patreon, and one that says all the video games we've ever played. If you go there, it's a list of everything, and you can click right to the game you want to see. Chronologically Gaming is the name to look for. We are perpetually retro, and we will catch you next time.